Hello, and welcome to another live chapter reading of Captivated, Hybrid Lovers Book 1 by Toya Richardson, as presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Prologue. My name is Angelina Squires. Until a few months ago, I was living a nice, quiet, normal life. One night, that all changed, for good. A destiny awaited me, which I could never escape. Now I find myself in the middle of a bloody and violent war. My calling is to help save the humans from demons who want to rule the earth. They can only achieve this when all hybrids have been destroyed. I've had to learn fast about many things I'd only thought happened in dreams and books. My role is vital to both humans and hybrids. This war will never end until the demon's route to Earth is destroyed. This is my story so far. Chapter 1. Salvatore. I stood on the rooftop of the house I own with my twin brother Luca and listened to the sound of the night creatures. The cold winter wind whipped around me. I always felt so alive at night, much more than I did during the day. You're restless this evening, brother. I turned to see Luca standing behind me. The air smells strange tonight, and I feel something. It's almost like a monumental event is about to take place. Do you think it could be her, Sal? There was a kind of nervous excitement in my brother's words. A shiver of anticipation ran down the length of my spine. Sal was Luca's nickname for me, although I preferred my full name of Salvatore. Women found it sexy, especially if I added my surname, Laurentis. Over the centuries, my brother and I had found it quite amusing. Shrugging, I gazed up at the inky darkness of the sky and breathed in the air. Could be. Not two experiences of discovering a mate are the same, so I'm told. Luca's eyes shone in the darkness, his enthusiasm filling the air around us. So many centuries we'd waited patiently for her to make our life complete. Luca and I had shared everything in our long lives, including women we'd dated. Most times, it worked for the woman, although some couldn't cope with the intensity of such a relationship. We were both incredibly sexual creatures with a voracious appetite when it came to lovemaking. I started to fantasize about what this woman, our woman, would look like. A delicious fragrance wafted past my nostrils. It was the musky, sweet scent of a woman. Luca and I gaped at one another. This scent was intoxicating, unlike any other female signature scent. Need and desire slammed at my body with a force which took my breath away. My brother groaned with the weight of the heady aroma surrounding us. This is it, Luca. This is our woman. It's far too compelling to be anything else but her. Where could she be? Luca asked me. Somewhere within a 30-mile radius. I remember our mother telling me about this phenomenon many centuries ago. Luca groaned with frustration. Fuck, she could be anywhere. The city is only 25 minutes from here. This is going to be like hunting for a needle in a friggin' haystack. If a demon catches her scent, especially Victor, I murmured my agreement and then clapped him on the back. But you forget how much ground we can cover between us. Look, I checked my watch. It's only a little after 10. Let's go see if we can locate her. Not waiting for Luca to respond, I unfurled my wings and flew high into the night air. My gut instinct was to head directly for the city. It's Friday night, Luca. I think we should check the bar and restaurant district of the city first. This form of telepathy between us was a useful tool when we were in a fight. Our mix of angel and vampire blood also aided in keeping us invisible to humans. Lead on, brother. I'm impatient to discover our mate. I couldn't have agreed with Luca's statement more. The need to be bonded with our mate was all-consuming, although finding her would be the easy part. Explaining the rest of her life from then on would be much more difficult. Angelina. I plastered a fake smile on my face to hide my boredom. My best friend and flatmate, Cassie, and her boyfriend, Jake, had set me up on yet another double date. It appeared to be Cassie's mission in life to find me a partner. I'd given up protesting the fact that I was happy to be single, but she wouldn't listen. And I loved her too much to hurt her feelings. Sean was pleasant enough, but dreary with a capital D. I'm just going to the ladies' room. Excuse me. Not waiting for a response, I left the table. I reapplied my lipstick and stared at my reflection in the large, illuminated mirror in the bathroom. God, how I wished I was anywhere else but here. My tired eyes glared back at me. Even the crowning glory of my deep auburn hair seemed dull. If only I could escape to the local rock club, where I always felt free to simply be me. A much better option would be the haven of my newly opened art gallery. A deep sigh slid through my lips. Mr. Perfect doesn't exist, Angelina. You should know that by now. Cassie stood behind me, hands on hips and a frustrated expression in her eyes. I turned to face her, resting my back against the vanity. You might be right, but I'm not going to settle for any guy just so I can say I'm in a relationship. I folded my arms around my body and huffed out a frustrated breath. Cassie walked over to me and leaned against the vanity next to me. I know you shouldn't, but you deserve to have a guy by your side. I faced her side on. Yeah, but I also don't need to have a man to justify my existence. No way would I settle for anything less. Sorry, that's just how I am. We fell silent. I honestly loved Cassie, but hearing the same conversation all the time frustrated the hell out of me. Closing my eyes, I did what I've been doing for a while and conjured up my dream guys. Guys, plural. For the last few weeks, I'd experienced some extremely erotic dreams. They involved me in a menage with two beautiful males. Well, I got the impression they were gorgeous. The weird thing about these dreams, I never saw their faces, only their amazing physiques. My body flushed at the mere thought of those dreams, which woke me up panting for breath and with wetness coating my thighs most nights. I was so obsessed that I'd even painted a picture of the men, minus their faces, of course. A nudge in my ribs took me away from all my wicked thoughts and fantasies. Hey, are you imagining those men in your dirty dreams again? Cassie chuckled. I wish I'd never told you about them now, I grumbled as my body became frustrated yet again. Nothing wrong with fantasies, honey. Just wait till you get the real thing. I shook my head. Being a relatively intelligent woman, I understood it was pure fantasy. No harm in enjoying the dreams, though, right? Each night, I looked forward to falling asleep to see if my sexy twosome made an appearance. After coffee, Cassie was heading to Jake's for the night. Our apartment wasn't too far from the restaurant, and I elected to walk home. It was a well-lit and safe district, otherwise I'd have held a cab. Let me walk you home, Sean offered. The eagerness in his expression and the way he eyed my body repulsed me. And he was desperate, which put me off even more. No thanks, Sean. I'll be fine. It was good to meet you. Bye. I waved my hand and headed away from him. But it's late, he protested. I waved my hand again, this time dismissively, and kept on walking, then made my escape before Sean followed me. I headed away from the bright lights and noise of the busy bar and restaurant district. Our apartment was on the top floor of a stunning old tenement building not too far from the city center. There was a beautiful park close by, which always gave me the impression of being out in the countryside rather than in the hustle and bustle of the big city. As I walked past the railings of the park, my stomach tightened and goose flesh rose in my arms. The hairs at the nape of my neck tingled, and a buzzing sound filled my ears. Grabbing the can of pepper spray from my handbag with one hand and apartment keys in the other, I whirled around. A man stood close by the gates leading to the park. He was dressed in a designer suit, white tie, and black shirt. Warning bells sounded in my mind. The man pushed away from the gate and prowled towards me. My concern escalated, along with the banging of my heart inside my chest. I realized I should move away or scream, but it was as though I was paralyzed. He stood directly in front of me, giving me a much better look at him. There was no getting away from the fact that he was good-looking, but behind those good looks, I could sense evil lurking there. His eyes were a dazzling bright blue, but they looked almost like contacts, and I was certain his irises were rimmed with red. His hair was white blonde, and his skin was the palest I'd ever seen, almost translucent. You. That one word froze the blood in my veins. My senses told me to run, but the man had me mesmerized. What? I stammered. He was nose to nose with me. His breath smelled of death and decay, in contrast to his attractive outer appearance. You asked what I wanted, and I said you. Your innocence and beauty intrigue me. The hybrids don't deserve you, but I do. His voice was like a soft purr. Hybrids? What on earth did he mean by that? Right before my eyes, the man dissolved and changed shape into the most hideous creature I'd ever seen. Straight out of one of the horror movies Cassie loved so much. I had to be hallucinating. Perhaps something I ate was giving me fantasies. I blinked rapidly to clear my vision. Nope, he was still there. He remained human in shape, but now covered in black scales with huge misshapen black wings and a long tail. He had an elongated snout, although that wasn't what terrified me the most. His jaws opened to show a mouthful of razor-sharp teeth. 2 of those teeth had elongated into 5-inch fangs. Closing my eyes once more, I prayed when I opened them again he'd be gone. I attempted to move. My hands felt like they were strapped to my sides by some unseen bonds. When I tried to scream, it's like I'd been struck dumb. The creature raked a claw down one of my cheeks, drawing blood. The pain was excruciating. Hot tears trailed down my cheeks at the intensity of his touch. Its incredibly long tongue snaked out of its gaping mouth and licked my blood away from the wound. Delicious. Way too good for the hybrids who seek you. I'm going to ruin you and leave your torn body for them to discover. That way, they'll realize their own deaths will come soon. None of his words made any sense. All I knew was death was headed my way, and there was nothing I could do to prevent it. He grabbed me in his strong claws and took to the sky. Terrified, I closed my eyes. A few seconds later, we alighted in the middle of the deserted park. Then he shuffled with me, still clutched between his claws, into a wooden area where he threw me to the ground. I couldn't bear to see anymore, so I closed my eyes again as the nightmare from hell towered over me. If this was going to be my last few minutes alive, I'd rather not be witness to what he had planned for me. If only I could black out. Step away from her, demon. I opened my eyes at the sound of the beautiful male voice. The light emanating where the sound had come from hid the speaker from view. The monster moved away from my side. If only I could turn tail and run. But it appeared I was still bound by some unseen force. I got to her first, hybrid. She's mine. There it was again. That word, hybrid. What did it mean? That's where you're wrong, Victor. This woman is under our protection. Under protection? Maybe he was a police officer. Perhaps this Victor was a serial killer or something, and he was under observation. The male with the beautiful voice didn't appear to be alone either. Another, his voice just as seductive, was with him. I attempted to say something and was unable to form words. My tongue felt swollen and dry. I discovered her before either of you. You can't have her. The monster growled at the 2 males. Are you really going to go up against both of us? The second beautiful voice asked. A loud roar filled the air around them. Flames came from around the demon. Black smoke and acrid fumes hung thick and oily in the air. Tears filled my eyes yet again and burned with a pungent stench. I'll return for the human and I will claim her right before I kill her. Never gonna happen, asshole, the second male voice declared with confidence. The words rang out through the cold night air, and when I finally managed to refocus my eyes, the scene from hell had vanished. As soon as the demon disappeared, was that one of the other men that had called it a demon? So did my invisible restraints. I attempted to stand and fell heavily to the ground. I watched in fascination as the 2 bright lights approached me. Way too much had happened to me that night. Taking off my high heels, I got to my feet and stumbled across the grass and back toward the relative safety of the road. In my panic, my voice wouldn't come, and as much as I tried to scream, I couldn't. So my focus remained on putting one foot in front of the other. The sound of large wings flapping came from above. Jesus, the demon had returned to finish me off after all. Blind terror consumed me. My breath rasped in painful pants from my chest, which burned in agony. A breeze came directly from above. Arms caught me about the waist and lifted me from the ground. I kicked. Having regained my voice, I screamed loudly and attempted to bite my assailant's arm. "Let me go, you bastard! Please, leave me alone! I've done nothing," I wailed with anger and fear mingled together. "Be still, Bella. You're safe now." I'm not Bella. My name is Angelina. You've got the wrong person," I protested. "No, you're exactly the right person. You are perfection. And most of all, you are safe." At the sound of that sexy, gentle voice, my body stilled. Italian, I thought the accent was. Mediterranean, anyway. Warm breath snaked along my neck, sending a shiver of sexual awareness through me. Then I peered down to see I was above the clouds, and I began to struggle again. Was that another set of wings flapping close by, too? This was going from bad to worse. Perhaps I was having some kind of psychotic episode. Maybe it was linked to my erotic dreams. "Put her to sleep, Luca, before you drop her." I struggled some more. A pair of lips hovered too close to my ear. "Sleep, Angelina. We will return you safely home." The sound of that hypnotic voice and everything I had experienced that evening were too much. I slowly slipped into blackness. With any luck, I'd wake up in my bed to discover it was only a dream after all. And that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the chapter reading. Have a good night.